What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel known as Azure. As always, I'm your host, Daniel, followed almost always by my gracious host,
Julian. So I'm here this time actually to do the Justice League instead of the Red Sun one.
Oh yeah, that's true, because last time we did a DC movie, I was only by myself, and like that one was kind of meh. I didn't really know what I was doing at the time, so let's see what we'll do like with two people this time.
You need to practice.
So,
That's how it goes.
Justice League Dark Apokolips War. Holy shit, is this movie kind of dark for what it's supposed to go for? I mean, I get it, like Justice League is like DC's more of a darker tone on the superhero comics with more grit to it, but holy shit, this movie earned its rated R rating. Like, oh my god, almost everybody dies within the first 5 minutes. Like, Cyborg dies, Manhunter dies, Green Lantern gets eaten, for Christ's sakes. Shazam, or Captain Marvel, I'm calling him Captain Marvel for the rest of this video, he gets his leg torn off and his face slashed open.
Yeah.
And Mira gets ripped in half from the face forward.
Yeah, that was one.
Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I hope they do something like this for if they ever do Marvel Zombies interpretation, just the way that what do they call the Doomsday, Paradoomsday?
What? The Paradooms, yeah.
Yeah, like the way the Paradooms just go in. Yeah. I want to see that if they do a Marvel one, because like the zombies in that are just supposed to swarm the superheroes that aren't zombies yet.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so a quick rundown of what this movie is like. At first, it shows the Justice League trying to defeat Darkseid because he's back since Justice League War, like the second movie in the DC animated universe or movie universe. Because like DC has to have a whole bunch of universes at this point.
It's got 5.
Because they fuck continuity all constantly. That even gives me a headache, and you know how I am. So yeah, Darkseid's back. He's trying to take over the galaxy, like as always. And so, what they don't know is that since Cyborg in this continuity is made from a mother box or father box, whatever you want to do, Darkseid can technically hack into Cyborg and see what he sees, which is what he does. So he knows the plan, and he literally, once they reach Apokolips, they're dead. They're legit dead. Like, the only people that survive is Superman, Wonder Woman for the most part, and Batman. And they just fuck these people up. Wonder Woman becomes the leader of the Furies and becomes a cyborg in a sense for Darkseid. Superman gets basically liquid kryptonite injected into his bloodstream, which in itself is kind of that's really interesting. Like, I've never seen that really. Like that's an actual good way to keep Superman depowered. Like, it's liquid kryptonite in his bloodstream. That's what he needs to keep circulating. Like, you can't filter out your blood.
But like, it's not potent enough to kill him. It's just enough to keep him weak forever.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He still has some of his powers just like greatly exaggerated. And Batman probably gets the coolest but most like weirdest thing ever. Like, he's put on the Mobius chair, which is a great fan service to people who read the comic books, because this is a kind of interpretation of the Darkseid Wars in the comics, where he sits on the Mobius chair. And if you guys don't know what that is, this thing knows everything in the whole universe. Like, you sit on it and you gain all the knowledge of it, because its creator Metron was the new god, essentially the positive version of Darkseid and his Apokoliptians. The new guys and the Apokoliptians are kind of in like this eternity long struggle between each other, where the new guys are the embodiment of good and the Apokoliptians are the embodiment of evil. But for some reason, this movie, Darkseid got his hands on the Mobius chair from Metron and put Batman on the chair. And what really made it good was that actually is a staple in the New 52 continuity with the Darkseid Wars. So yeah, that was good, excellent fan service right there.
Yeah, especially this is the last of the New 52 continuity in the universe.
This serves as like DC animated Endgame in a sense. Like, all the heroes come together to fight this one big bad guy. But unlike Endgame, where a lot of people survive this, basically everyone dies in this.
Well, yeah, it's more like a crisis than an Endgame.
Yeah, it's basically crisis on one Earth. That's it.
Yeah.
Like, so that's what it is. But so yeah, the main focus though isn't really the Justice League. It's more Constantine. Like, and I know what you're gonna say is pronounced Constantine, but no, Alan Moore confirmed this as I think it is, and so there's a whole bunch of other people in DC like say it's pronounced Constantine.
Yeah, it's time.
People just say Constantine because it's easier for Americans to say it. So yeah.
It's like with Japanese pronunciation of words, where they'll say it wrong and we'll always say it wrong. Like the whole.
There's no point in like correcting them every single time.
Especially when like say Kamehameha wave, where you're basically saying beam wave. Yeah. We're saying Constantine is the Constantine. I think is the USA version of saying it, where it's it is like you said. It's Constantine. Yeah. And so since he's British, clearly
it's gonna be Constantine.
He'd say it like that. Yeah.
But yeah. Yeah, it follows him. Like he's the main focus in this one because like it's not a Justice League movie. It's a Justice League Dark movie.
Yeah.
Which is weird in itself, but it kind of makes sense when you think of like the creators of this movie wanted it to be the finishing story arc to the whole DC animated universe.
Yeah. So
it's ending to Batman Hush, Justice League War, Suicide Squad Hell to Pay. It's an ending to all that. It works actually. It kind of works. Like everyone gets like their right amount of time. But I will say like some of the deaths in this thing are not done tastefully. Like Lady Shiva, the second best fighter,
just getting shot.
Just gets shot in the forehead. Like what? You have one of the most powerful martial artists in the DC universe, and she dies like a fuck.
Man, at least a guy like Yamcha gets like an explosion or something when he dies. She just gets shot by some thug.
Exactly. It's not even good. It's a nameless thug too. Like it's not even Luthor or anything that kills her.
Not someone competent. It's just some. I mean, obviously he's competent, but not someone like superhero competent. Just a regular competent soldier.
Yeah. Like,
well, I mean, it started especially where we thought it would just show how either weak the assassins are, or how strong the what's his name again?
Constantine.
No, the Etrigan. Yeah, with Etrigan, where we were like, like he just like kicked her once and she goes down, so we thought it was like, it's to show this thing or it's for humor. No, it's just because that's how like weak she is in this film, I guess.
No, but not even that. Like she holds her own against like superpowered beings. It's just that like.
But I meant in this like movie continuity, we thought it was that, and so in this movie specifically, I guess they just didn't care.
Yeah, she would just not get the respect she deserved.
Yeah, because what's the strongest position she's taken on?
She can beat Batman. That's what it is.
Yeah, right. Like and Batman didn't die in this.
And she beats Deathstroke too, like in the mainstay, like in the main continuity. She beats Deathstroke, which in a sense is on par with Batman, except like while Batman uses his martial arts to just throw down people and incapacitate them, Deathstroke uses to kill them because Batman knows killing techniques. He just improvises them to not kill people. So yeah, the only person that can probably beat Lady Shiva in a hand-to-hand combat is the Karate Kid, which is because he's from the future. That's why he knows every single form of martial arts.
Or at least like pure. Yeah. As you know, obviously with say Batman or Deathstroke, if they have enough like they have planning or certain things like that, then
Batman said to himself like no matter what, Shiva could always beat him.
But then how does he win against? Well, this is later.
He never wins against Shiva. Like she lets him like beat. That's it.
And then she gets shot in this. So that's a good example actually of keeping it on topic.
Yeah. But back to like the whole characterization thing. Like while they did respect to Shiva, they gave more respect to Lois in this movie rather than Red Sun, where they downgraded her part and gave her more emphasis on Wonder Woman. Where this one, she's actually like. She's actually useful in this movie.
This was really just a Batman and Superman movie if you get down to the side characters, because they're all just from... And I guess also Aquaman gets one.
Yeah, because Mira does come back as a serpent cyborg thing.
Because Black Manta is the coolest character, and he needs to get a few kills in.
Yeah, Black Manta does get a few Paradoom's kills in. And if you don't know what a Paradoom is, it's basically a Parademon, which is one of Darkseid's like henchmen, a type of henchman that he has. And it's combined with Kryptonian DNA, which is Superman DNA. So they don't have the crazy regeneration of Doomsday, but they also have his strength and everything too, and is somewhat resistant to kryptonite, but not so much that they can die from kryptonite because they do die from kryptonite weapons. In a way though, like I will say this though, like the main part you really want to focus on is like the last half, like after they get back to Apokolips afterwards, because that's when most of the action kicks off. Like that's when Etrigan starts fighting seriously because he finally has a challenge again, and he finally rhymes because. Throughout the movie, he got so bored because Jason Blood died that he doesn't rhyme anymore.
He found a worthy opponent.
Yeah, because like
he regrets nothing.
Yeah, because
that was a good line.
Because Constantine said like in a throwaway line, like, he's so depressed because a good friend of him died, which is basically Jason Blood, which is his other half. Like he doesn't even rhyme anymore. Yeah,
well, we're forgetting one scene before that though, and that's the best one of the best characters. It's Swamp Thing.
Okay, never mind. I thought you were gonna go somewhere else.
Who's the other one?
I'm gonna say Dick Grayson being rerun in the Lazarus Pit.
No, I mean that was a cool part where like that's how he has to that's how beaten down Batman has to be. He's like
it wasn't even Batman that put him in the Lazarus Pit. It was Damian.
No, what I mean is that like the fact that that's what happened to Batman. Like he has to be fully beaten down. Like his son dies, Dick Grayson's like that, even though Batman doesn't know it.
Yeah.
That's cool. But yeah, Swamp Thing's great interpretation in this.
Of course, Swamp Thing they had to address this.
He takes on like 100 Paradooms and just explodes them.
He destroys one of Darkseid's injector type things that steals his green, because that's what Swamp Thing lives for. He lives for the green of the earth.
Plants.
Yep. He's basically a better version of Poison Ivy in the sense that he's actually a hero in a way, whereas Poison Ivy is seen as a villain, even though she's just an eco-terrorist.
Well, it's more like what is it? Swamp Thing's more neutral, where it's kind of like I'm usually heroic because like the bad guys are trying to like destroy the environment. But if you do mess with me, then I can go like not evil, but I'll be an antagonist, not a villain, right? Yeah. Where Poison Ivy is more just kind of almost like an extreme version of the eco-terrorist, kind of like the start of Final Fantasy where they're blowing up the Shinra building kind of thing, where it's just the most extreme rate of what I want is why they're villains. So their intention isn't the problem, is how they enact it, which is why she can easily then work with the heroes or work with Harley, and she could be like an anti-hero type.
Yeah, I can see that. So yeah, like back to the whole ending thing. Like, it's a mainstay because of the show. It shows Darkseid being like, well, not really overconfident, but has some arrogance to him, where he thinks he can't fail. Or the fact that Damian brings back his father, like from out of the Darkseid trance from the Mobius chair. And another thing about Batman I want to get to is that his suit when he has the Mobius chair on is reminiscent of the whole Hellbat armor, which is another throwback to when he put on that armor to kick Darkseid's ass when he went to Apokolips, because in that storyline, Darkseid took the corpse of Damian Wayne right after he died, and Batman was just like, no, you ain't taking my son. I'm gonna come over to your place, fuck your shit up, and then I'm gonna take my son back. Which he does, because the Hellbat armor basically gives him Superman level strength, but it still keeps him at bay. The only downside is that it quickens his metabolism too fast, so it kind of drains his life force if he uses it too much.
Takes a toll on him, which is the excuse of why he can't use it all the time. Another thing too is to talk about Darkseid before we get into other characters, since we're talking about his arrogance. Is I really like that they show it before, whereas things like with Green Lantern, especially with Jon Stewart, how it's like, I'm not going to kill you myself, I'm going to have it be like an ironic thing where Batman just kind of puts lava in there, destroys the thing that you were hoping was going to save everything, and then it just inadvertently kills you.
To go more into detail, like Darkseid's on Noah destroying every Green Lantern he can. Like, there's a really good shot of him like literally shooting his Omega beams inside someone's eyes and through the back of his head.
That was a good kill shot, yeah.
You see like his head melting from the inside out.
That was some Mortal Kombat stuff right there.
That's what it is. And then you see like when Batman calls him, he has Kilowog in a death grip, twists his neck and tells Batman, drop a portion of the Earth's magma onto the Green Lantern's central battery to destroy the battery, so that way Jon Stewart can't recharge his ring. And that effectively kills Jon Stewart in a way. Like, all you see left is just a skeleton in his ring. And
it was right at the end. He didn't even say it like immediately. He was like, it was almost like, take your time.
Exactly.
He can't beat me.
Because he literally hears Jon Stewart say the oath.
Yeah.
But he just is like, oh my god, you can't do shit. I won, basically. But then, like, towards the end, we see like this probably one of the best things I never saw coming was like Constantine like releases Trigon, which is Raven's father, from his little diamond prison that he was in throughout the whole continuity wise, and he tries to make a deal with Trigon, saying like, oh, I freed you from the prison, but you're still in mist form, so let's make a deal, or I let you use my body to take over Darkseid, or to beat Darkseid. In return, you have to save us. But his idea was that he takes over Superman's body, and that basically gets rid of the kryptonite, and makes him have magical powers too. Because if you don't know, two of Superman's main weaknesses is kryptonite and magic. So the Trigon inside Superman's body, his weakness to magic is gone, so he can go all out. And so you see Trigon Superman, which is what I like to call him. He has a flaming S and a flaming cape, and horns and 4 eyes. It's just like a badass.
It's just one of those like. It's like one of those fusion kinds of things where it's because it's that kind of thing too, where it's what is a Vegeta and a Goku, and it's not addition, it's multiplication in power. So since they're both basically infinity in strength, it's just infinity times infinity, which just makes it so Darkseid
he just gets wrecked.
Doesn't even he should be murdered in one punch, but
exactly. But Trigon wants to take his time with the Darkseid.
Yeah,
and it goes to show like. It's a time where like you didn't know this was gonna happen, and you weren't sure if you wanted it to happen, but when you see it,
I'm pretty sure everyone wanted it. That's one of those things.
It's a thing like you don't know if you actually wanted to see it happen, but once you see it happen, you're like, oh my god, why didn't they do this sooner? It's fucking awesome.
Yeah, it's more like, why didn't I think about it? Is that one? It's like,
why didn't we think about this sooner?
Yeah.
Like, why?
It could be one of those.
And then like what escalates it more, like throughout this time, like Lois transmits a video message to Superman. Be like, oh my god, Clark, we're not gonna survive this, because they're in Luthor Tower fighting off some Paradooms, because that controls the boom tube that sends it to Apokolips. So Lois gets her final message to Clark, saying like, "We're not gonna make it, but just so you know, you have the power to make it through this, and I love you and all that," because they're married in this continuity. And so he pushes Trigon out of his body. All the kryptonite's gone. His suit regenerates out of nowhere, and now he can go just full on all out against Darkseid to the point where he digs his thumbs into Darkseid's eyes and starts pulling a whole Thor on Loki, like swinging him back and forth on the floor. And like you think that he's gonna kill him at this point, but Darkseid does hold his own against Superman. Where the point where Cyborg, who in this case is the Source Wall, which is not really that good.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about this. Let's ignore the Superman stuff. The Source Wall thing is really silly, and I get it's different continuity, but
come on,
it being that small and that low powered for what it's supposed to represent.
I get it's like a throwaway line. It's like a little nod to the actual Source Wall, but still, you can't really call Cyborg part of the Source Wall.
I don't know. It's like making the one above all, right? You put him in animated format, and he's only as strong as like Shocker.
Oh my god!
It's like it's too strong. It's Source Wall is too one above all is too important, and like
the Source Wall is basically the whole DC universe.
Considering one above all is only like showed up to see Spider-Man and like a couple other appearances.
Exactly, that's it.
Right, and the Source Wall is only talked about when Darkseid's involved, or New Gods, because that's how
there's a crisis involved.
Yeah. Or sometimes Lex, but that also involves Darkseid a lot of times. It involves Lex.
It was mainly Lex because the Justice League Ultimate comic, cartoon. That's why, because he got the anti-life equation from the Source Wall.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the little tidbit about the Source Wall and everything, like how it wasn't really done properly, right? But yeah.
Well, the fact that Cyborg couldn't even be in it, considering you said about like the intellect of, like there's a reason why Darkseid can't get in, because he's just slightly below, and it's because of the arrogance.
In order to actually survive being in the Source Wall, you have to have a 12th level intellect, and the only one who comes close to it is Darkseid and maybe Brainiac. That's it. But Luthor somehow survived, even though he had a 9th level intellect.
Yeah,
so, I guess that's a testament to his willpower to Lex's willpower.
Like he increases his
just by sheer will, yeah.
Yeah, well, it's that same thing with Superman. That's why he's the rival of Superman. Is willpower, or Batman's the rival of Superman. The only thing can really beat Superman is someone's will
and determination.
Which is why Brainiac is such a good Superman villain, or Darkseid, because it's supposed to be that kind of you will obey.
Yeah.
Brainiac is through mind control, and Darkseid is just through sheer
will, sheer strength and everything.
Strength and just dominance, intelligence, and all of that.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, afterwards, so Superman's going ham. Batman's trying to make a plan of how to trap Darkseid, and Constantine makes the plan. Constantine makes the plan to distract Darkseid while Cyborg puts them into a little pocket dimension, because no one can really escape from a pocket dimension, even Darkseid, who basically is an dimensional bad guy. So while that's happening, they decide what to do with Superman, because Darkseid needs a distraction so Cyborg can make the boom tube. So they make Trigon have a physical body again, which is really what interests me, because Trigon and Darkseid are both conquerors. They're both galactic conquerors. The only thing though is that Trigon actually succeeded in intergalactic domination, where Darkseid hasn't succeeded yet. Mm-hmm. So it was always fun for me to imagine who would actually win in this fight, Trigon or Darkseid. So yeah, in a way, they kind of said Trigon won because Trigon held Darkseid back long enough, and he was still playing the Darkseid too.
Yeah, they're at the very least
they're on equal.
They're equal, or Trigon slightly above. But if you're going by the continuity, because you could also say, well, Darkseid got worn down by Superman and some other stuff, and Trigon had
rejuvenated.
Yeah, right. So yeah, at least equal level.
Yeah, they're on equal level, because Darkseid was always in the Omega power up type thing, where Trigon mainly had magic and all that. Which is
why you can see in something like Titans, that's why they're so scared of Trigon, because the strongest character they have is only Raven.
Yeah, that's why.
And maybe
that's his daughter. That's
about it.
It also shows a good father-daughter moment with him, because even though he's basically this version of the devil, he does care for his daughter, because he gets to say a final goodbye. He thanks his daughter for letting him go and everything. He even goes as far to have some sort of honor, saying if you release me now, I won't kill Damien. And I guess he does live up to that.
Or at the very least, he's a version of the devil, right? Because there's a lot in the DC universe.
Oh no, he's even confirmed he's basically the devil in this thing. Right.
Wait, but isn't there also Lucifer?
Well, Lucifer's not really mainly the devil, and plus that's more Vertigo DC. That's why.
Yeah, but now he's in the main con. But that's later.
Yeah, that's for
anyways.
different video maybe.
Too much comic talk. Okay, anyways. Well, I guess it's animated series.
Yeah, so
but the one thing I'll say that is a criticism, well, there's a few things, such as the character that's being, is the voice acting for Lex.
Oh, yeah, and Darkseid.
And Darkseid is not deep enough to give a conqueror's aspect. Mm-hmm. And especially in something like a animated or fictional form, you need that, because that's just how it is. You can't sound intimidating unless you have that kind of voice.
Like the whole gravelly voice type thing, like, oh my god, I'm a conqueror.
Yeah, the kind of thing.
These people are merely mad.
And when Lex Luthor sounds like a dork, doesn't work.
Exactly.
And Darkseid was okay, yeah.
Darkseid could have been a bit better. Like, they could have gotten Keith David or something like that. Or maybe Clancy Brown.
Yeah. Oh, who was the one in the anime series?
I don't know. But even with him, they modulated the voice a bit.
Oh, heck, Injustice had a good Darkseid voice, too.
Oh, I never really got the DLC for Darkseid, but that's why.
Yeah, he got a pretty good one.
Not bad. Well, no, I kind of liked him in Superman Darkseid. That voice.
That's a good one.
Yeah, it wasn't deep, but he still had that sense of command and power. That's why. What's it called? Steppenwolf from Justice League could have been a good voice for Darkseid.
It could have been a good one. Yeah.
So yeah, that's our main type thing. Like overall, this movie wasn't the best in the DCAMU, but it was a good standoff. Oh, I almost forgot.
Wonder Woman could have got more of a focus. Actually, is one I was gonna say. Yeah. Just the fact that the Batman did get Wonder Woman got maybe one scene. Mm-hmm. And even Batman got more than that. And so Wonder Woman probably should have been in the last battle doing something. Well,
she was holding back the other Furies after she turned back to good.
Yeah, so the fact that there was just like that, it almost sounds like, oh, we don't have a way to put her in naturally. Mm-hmm. And it's like, come on, she's the third pillar. You gotta have her
do something more important than just holding out the Furies.
But that was a cool Constantine thing where he's able to use the
lasso tree on her and everything.
He just had to magic it to make it work.
Oh yeah. Oh, again, like the whole thing with this is why this is the end is because like they brought it up. Like I think I read about it. Like this whole thing was like the Flashpoint started this DCMU, DC movie.
Oh, we didn't even talk to them. Yeah.
That's right. DC movie universe was that like the Flashpoint paradox started this, and it was like because in the comic version Flashpoint started the New 52, so it only makes sense that this one ends it because he starts another Flashpoint timeline, which then will probably lead this to Rebirth.
They really should have just called this continuity instead of anime universe. They should have called it New 52 and the next one Rebirth, and then everyone would say, "Oh yeah, that makes sense."
Mm-hmm. That's why. But I mean, they're gonna do what they're gonna do. Is they're basically done this at this point. They're done with this either way. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I'm excited to see if they actually do Rebirth.
They better call it Rebirth instead of some dumb name that no one will understand.
But yeah, because there's always a chance that they're not gonna do what fans think they're gonna do either way. But yeah, so yeah, it started with the paradox. It ends with the paradox. And it ends like kind of on a melancholy note because even though they save the day, the Earth is still fucked. Yeah. And everyone's still basically dead.
I mean, it's definitely better than the. Let's talk about the overall series for a sec. We'll do an overall series review maybe at some point later after we watch them again. But I'll say it was better than the comics New 52. The animated one is better than the comic one. The universe is better than the comic. Aside from maybe Batman.
Probably.
Because the Batman's really good at New 52 because of Court of Owls.
Yeah, that's why. The Court of Owls is a main staple. That's why they got basically their own side movie in Batman versus Robin.
You can stay in Rebirth.
You stay here. You're good, so you stay.
Here's the one thing they'll take from 52.
Exactly. So yeah. That's probably it. Like I wouldn't say this is the best DCAMU. It's a good finale to the universe, but it's not the best. Now I'd still probably go to Flashpoint because it kicked off everything and like it took the whole anime universe to a whole different level type thing in terms of grit, showmanship, and like just in general.
Yeah, qualities. It's a mid-high, but I definitely think the DC, if they don't do something unique with some of their stylistic choices. Mm-hmm. It might lead to some feeling of stagnation. As some of the fight scenes, while they were good, they did feel a bit too okay. Like it's been 20 years since like the anime series. I get it. Can we have more of a like brutal? Like, oh, you can show bruises or bleeding that isn't just from dying. Yeah. And even then, with the goriness, like it was cool. But if you compare it to the Mortal Kombat, which is also Warner Brothers, like that is like those are gory kills. Yeah, those are, or even the comics too. Like they have like. They show brain and stuff, and I can only think of a couple characters that had like a really bad like showings of like their innards kind of being shown. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's gonna do it for this episode. I give it a thumbs up for this one because
this was a thumbs up. Next one's gonna be Mortal Kombat.
Well, don't say that yet because you don't know if it's actually gonna go in that order.
Well,
either way, Mortal Kombat, we talked about it much, so might as well have this.
Well, the next... what I meant was the next Warner Brothers animated we'll do.
You gotta say that then. You gotta say the next Warner Brothers project we're gonna do is Mortal Kombat. But yeah, like always, have any suggestions, you know where to put them, you know what to do at the end of every video. Do whatever the hell you want. That'll do it for this episode. So,
see you next time.